called the South Kaibab, which is 7 miles of no shade and just sun. It is the most beautiful trail I've ever been on, but I have never felt more in pain walking. I thought, this is the easiest day. It's 7 miles downhill. This is easy. Now, granted, granted, I know what you're going to say. Because that 5 miles down the first day, like, even though it was a bunch of switchbacks, it was still like...
Switchbacks are terrible.
I'm like, downhill sucks. Downhill sucks. But I was like, it's only 7 miles. Because, like, look, the first day was 13, 6.5 down, 6.5 up. That sucks. You get equal down, equal up. The second day was 7 miles straight downhill, where we got to rest at a campsite for the rest of the day, eat dinner, relax, have a delicious lemonade, wake up in the morning, and then take a semi-flat trail, and then right back to... But that was 10 miles. So I'm thinking 7 is the least, and it's all downhill. I got this. Early in the morning, we'll beat most of the sun. Everything will be kosher. Nothing. It all was painful.
Who doesn't have 10 pictures of the same place like we both do?
Where?
Anytime you want to stop and grab pictures, just holla.
Oh, yeah. It's dropped to my bag.
If you look right down here, this is where we're going to be stopping in a second. Cedar Ridge.
Huh.
Right, from right there you can see where the stairs up for the trail go, but once you're down there, it's kind of like, where the fuck did the trail go?
Oh, that little plateau is like Cedar Ridge, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, this right here below is what's the bathroom.
Where that guy is?
Yeah. See the building?
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Essentially.
Everything was the best. I mean, even when we got down into
especially when you're on the verge of death. Any food is going to taste like heaven sent stuff.
The campground had like this cantina where you could buy lemonade, and look, I will tell anybody that it was probably like, regular, just pour lemonade, pour powder and sugar into a bowl of water with some ice cubes. But that was the most delicious cup of lemonade I will ever have on my after waking.
Cedar Ridge.
And I walk up like, hey, I'm looking for Johnny. Oh, yeah, are you Chris? And I'm like, yeah, I'm supposed to help him out with the hot dog stand. They're like, oh, we got people on that. We need your help with something else. And I'm like,
What?
Oh, okay. So they had me, like, I think I was like 16, 17, and they had me directing traffic and telling cars where they needed to go to park to put their stands up.
Oh.
And, like, I didn't have a map of the area. I didn't know the layout. I was just thrust. It was just thrust upon me, and it's all like painted into the grass with like white squares, and I'm like, I have no fucking idea what I'm looking at. So I just started parking people. I'm like, all right, you're first up. You take the far end spot. You go here. You go here. And I started putting people places, and I know I put people in the wrong spot. Like, no one gave me a map. Like, hey, this guy's supposed to be here. This guy's here. I was like, you showed up. You're going right here because this is where I have room for you.
That's fun.
And then I finished that. Like, everyone showed up, and I finished the parking thing. And the guy told me, when you're done with that, come back over to me, and I'll get you working on something else. And I was like, I finished the parking thing. And I was like, fuck that. And I walked. So down there you see the river, and then to the right where the trees are, that's Phantom Ranch. So that's the Bright Angel campground anyway. If only had that jetpack right around.
And I don't want to say anything that you guys will need to quote me on later, but
the other thing too that if I wasn't smiling, I was asleep. Every time there was an opportunity for me to nap, I was passed out. We get down to like at any point.
Oh my God.
Every time we took a lunch break, every time we took a break, we get to the car, nothing. It didn't matter. I was like, at the end of the trip, like, that was the one thing her brother said was like, it was either the smiling or the mild narcolepsy that you had that was really concerning. Because you just kept falling asleep. Anytime you weren't needed to do any energy, you just were, Nick's asleep. He's passed out again. He's asleep. So, because when we got down to the campsite.
Yeah, so you look down the river to the left, you can see that trail there. That's the bottom half of the Bright Angel. It's the part that goes along the river.
That's what we'll be walking out of?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, really? You really just follow the river?
Yep. Follow the river a good, like, 1.5 to 2 miles. Really pretty. Got the road, the current the whole time you're walking it too. It's nice. Look at that fucking raven on the trail. How big that fucker is.
I hear him. I don't see him now.
I thought it was a fucking person.
I would have been like digging it into the ground as a canoe paddle if I could have. Which, by the way, I had to get a hiking stick, and that saved my life. I like the hiking pole. Like honestly, like there were some parts of the trail where I was walking around with it, and they had told me early on. They're like, pick a song. When things start to get tough, like start singing a song in your head. And I'm
glad that I've got at least 2 songs literally going in my head at all times.
I'm digging this hiking pole with both hands going, row, row, row your boat. Like I couldn't think of anything else. I was just like digging into the ground, trying to mosey my way through the trails.
Worth it?
Ask me again when we're there. Is that where those trees are, I'm assuming?
Yep, that's the beginning of the entrance to it.
Fuck yeah. That makes me more happy.
If anything else, there's no uphill or downhill. You're at the bottom.
That's true. In fact, I just jump right in here. All right.
View. But we're sitting down there, and you know I'm filming and everything, and life's a box of chocolates, and I'm dying every and you know it's fun. And going back to like what I was saying earlier, like every time I turn the corner, they'd look back, and her dad would just go like, "What the hell are you smiling at? Like 5 minutes ago, you just said you were in the most pain you could possibly imagine, but here you are." And don't get me wrong, you look horrible. Which is why I ask again, why are you smiling? You look in pain. And I'm like, but I mean, and then, ow. And then, but then, you know, it was like this really weird, like, you're in a lot of pain. Like an alien vessel. It just looks like a tube, and it's got like 2 round, just like poles that go on either end. Nothing tying the thing in the middle. So like the middle is like just looks like a tunnel, and it's like waving back, and we're staring at it, going, "What's the support? Like, what's the support? Any of this? Like, what is it? Like, because I like."
Please tell me you figured it out.
So here's what. So they had like a 2-man tent that are like they put together and.
Dude, I had to hike a 6-man tent down.
that would have been worse. But I don't know what's worse than that, or having a 6-man tent, or being a one person staring at a 1-person tent, not knowing how to put it together. Because I mean,
again, I didn't even sleep in the tent. There was no point in sleeping in the tent.
Again, like I mean, this was at the beginning of this month, so it didn't get hotter than 80 degrees. Down in the canyon, it was like 90, but by the time the sun went away, it cooled off.
Well, and you're in shade for the majority of the time.
Well, that was the other thing.
In the Grand Canyon, the majority.
We get down. Well, to get down and start putting like the campsite together, and they have a 2-man tent. They put it together in like under 5 minutes. And at one point, I'm sitting on the bench. Everything's laid out. My tent. I'm just like, I got nothing. These things are round. I don't see anything that could be round. I don't. And like they're done, and they come over and they're like, "You need some help putting together this 1-man tent?" I'm like, "Oh, don't say yes. Don't say yes." I need help. Help me with this, please, with this tent. So, oh man, I was done. I didn't care about anybody or no one. And that was the other thing. Her brother kept telling me multiple times the majority of the campsites have no shade. So it doesn't matter. Even when you get to the bottom, like unless you get there early enough, the good campsites get taken. And that's just the way it goes. So I'm like, we got to get down there. We got to get down there. We got to get down there. We get down there and everyone's like, ooh, let's look at the river. I'm like, no, let's get to the campsite. So we get to the campsite and like, you know, they start communicating and they're not arguing, but they start communicating on like, they're like, oh, wait. Because the dad's like, oh, I think like where we need to be is over here, and her brother was like, no, we are right where, like, we passed what you're talking about, like we are right where we need to be. So they're chatting, right, and we're standing next to the best campsite with shade, like more shade than I have ever seen, and I'm like, why are we? Somebody could walk right to our like, and so they're just bickering.
Why didn't you just walk to it?
I did. They're talking, they're like, we can't, and I'm like, you guys figure this out. I'm going to go sit right there and die. And when you guys have figured it out, I will still be there. I went, laid my stuff down, started laying down, just, again, fell right asleep. They started walking back up a 4th trail, and they come back to me like 20 minutes later, and they're like, yep, this is good. I'm like, told you. I wasn't leaving. I didn't. But then
I didn't care where they went. I was staying here.